Hey guys, it's Trina, and today I want to show you guys all the books that I currently have checked out from my library. So this is a library book haul. I've got 15 books that I want to show you guys today, and I'm going to start with The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. Guys, remember that I am not so great at summarizing books that I haven't read yet because I don't always read the synopses because sometimes I think those give away too much information. I don't know very much about what this book is actually about. I just know that I want to read this one because I did enjoy Nicola Yoon's first book, Everything. It had some problems, but I enjoyed her writing style and I wanted to see more from her. This is an own voices story, portrayal of race as far as I know, but I don't actually know what the story is about. I just know it's about two characters. I think there is a romance. It's one of my most anticipated releases of last year and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I hope I can get to it soon. Next I have Georgia Peaches and Other Forbidden Fruit by Jaye Robin Brown. Ooh, I said that all right. This is a long title and a long author name, and I got it right, and I'm happy about that. This one, I believe, is about a female-female relationship, and the main girl is out. She's the daughter of a preacher. She is out, but then they move. She kind of goes back in the closet because of her father's evangelical reputation, and I think that this book is going to deal with sexuality and faith. I have had this one recommended to me many times for being a very swoony romance. I am looking forward to checking this one out. Next I have Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, and this one is a fantasy. It's about a kingdom where every few years there are three triplet girls born, and they are all three equally heir to the throne, and in order to take the throne, these three triplets each have to kind of compete in this like battle to the death, and the winner becomes queen, and all three of them have different magical abilities, and the catch in this story is that one of these three sisters did not get the powers that she was supposed to have, so she has to figure out how to survive this battle. So I've heard so many great things about this book. It sounds right up my alley. I really want to read it and haven't yet. That's kind of the story of my life. The next book I have is The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You by Lily Anderson. I do believe this one is a contemporary romance between a boy and a girl, and I think both of the characters are nerds. Like, they meet in a comic shop and they talk about like Doctor Who and figurines and comic books and video games and stuff. And this one actually, I picked it up on the recommendation of another author, Becky Albertalli. If you guys haven't read her book Simon vs. Homo Sapiens Agenda, read it because that was my favorite book of last year, and you should also follow her on Twitter because every once in a while Becky will go on a book recommending spree, and the way that she will hype up a book always makes me interested in it, so I picked it up. Been wanting to read it ever since. I also have Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, which is the sequel to Passenger. The ending of that book made me like frantic with needing to know more, so I've been really anticipating this release. If you aren't familiar with this duology, it is a time travel duology. So our main character is a musician and she discovers that she's inherited the ability to travel through time. This family that's in charge of time, they try to control it. They take her in wanting her to use her ability to go through time and find an artifact that her mother hid. I just found the first one very interesting, so I can't wait to finish this duology. I also have The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer, just because I'm very curious about this one. It is, I think, about an ex-agent. I don't know if this is like a government agent or something. She's on the run because she knows some big secrets, so it's supposed to be pretty thrilling, and honestly, I'm just more really curious about it. That's all I can really say. So the next book that I have is one that I don't know how I feel about, but this one has come highly recommended to me, and it is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I haven't liked the one book by hers that I have read, and I have heard so many times that all of her books deal with problematic relationships, and this one is Colleen actually purposefully addressing like an abusive relationship. And so this one has been recommended to me because people know that I have been through that and that I have talked about that topic before. And along with this book, I actually went ahead and grabbed Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover also, so that I could get a better idea of Hoover's works overall. So it's not that I doubt that Colleen Hoover's books have problematic relationships in them. I totally know that firsthand from the one book of hers that I've read, but because this is something that I do have personal experience in, I want to read more of her works so that I can talk about them. I also recently picked up In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This is an adult mystery thriller, and I think this one is about a woman who, she hasn't seen one of her old friends in years, and then one day she gets invited to her bachelorette party which is like in a cabin in the woods, and then weird stuff starts happening. Like I think people start disappearing, or that's the kind of gist that I get from it. But I did just read The Woman in Cabin 10, which is also by this author, so I wanted to just see kind of more by her. I also have Replica by Lauren Oliver, which is her latest YA release. It is science fiction. I believe it's about clones. And I know that this book has been talked about a lot, but it has like this side you can read from the character Lyra's perspective, and then you can flip it over and read starting from the back from Gemma's perspective. And I've heard that you could read it starting with either or you can read a chapter, flip it, read a chapter, flip it, read a chapter. The reason that I want to read this one is because I have enjoyed Lauren Oliver's previous YA novels. Hopefully I will get to this one soon as well. The next book that I have is Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson, and I believe this one is kind of an autobiography, but it is told in free verse, and it is the author's own story of her childhood growing up as a black woman in the American South in the 60s and 70s. So all of the prejudices and racism that she has experienced is told through this story in free verse. I also picked up Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. It is a short story, it's more like a novella length, and I think it's fantasy about kids who disappeared and now have come back. I think that's what it's about. But the reason that I picked this one up is because I keep hearing so many people that have loved it, and especially because this one has a sexual representation. I've also picked up Deafo by Cece Bell, which is a graphic memoir. So this one is illustrated like a comic, and this is her story of growing up with a hearing impairment and wearing a hearing aid. And I've had a lot of people recommend it to me as being a great representation, especially because it is own voices. And in this one, I believe that she imagines herself as what if I were a superhero, so I think that's why the little character is wearing a cape. I've also recently picked up March Book 1 by John Lewis. John Lewis is a U.S. congressman, and in his trio of graphic novels, he illustrates his own experiences with the American Civil Rights Movement. I've heard nothing but great things about his trio of graphic novels, so again, I'm interested in starting this one soon. And the last book in this haul is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I have never read anything by Susan Dennard before, and I wanted to read Truthwitch last year when it came out, and I just never got to it. But because the sequel recently came out, Wind Witch, it kind of kicked me into gear in wanting to finally pick this book up. I actually don't know much about the plot of this one either, surprise surprise, but I know that this one is a YA fantasy about different types of witches, and I think this is going to be a pretty long series, like 5 or 6 books or something, each one following a different type of power. So hopefully I'm going to get to this one soon. You know, have I said that about every book in this haul? I think I have. That's it for all the books that I currently have out from my library that I haven't read yet. If you guys are looking forward to reading any of these books, or if you've read any of them, let me know what you thought without spoilers down in the comments, please. Let me know what you have recently checked out from your library, or a book that you've recently purchased or received. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!